Can I request everyone to say 3 times sound, please? Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Yatanako bhante na jayati, na jiyati, na miyati, na chavati, na uppajjati. Sakkanukoso bhante gamanena lokassa anto jnatum va tattum va papunitum vati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, first of all, apologies for the long delay. It is unavoidable because today is no moon day, and we traditionally on the full moon day and on the no moon day, we take precepts, we observe precepts. In other words, we recollect our precepts. And we don't have 507, we have 227 precepts to recite. So it takes quite a bit of time, and it had been scheduled at 6:30 or rather 6 o'clock. When you started, it was a bit late, and as a result, got delayed. Apologies for that once again. So that is my justification of coming late. Anyway, coming back to the topic, this is the same stanza that we have taken in the last 2 days for our talk. And you should be able to remember the meaning of it now. What it says is, this particular divine being called Rohitasa, he comes and asks a question from Buddha. The question he's asking is it possible, Lord, by traveling to know or see or reach a far end of the cosmos where one does not take birth, age, die, pass away, or reappear? And the Blessed One's answer was simply, it's no. But he says, I tell you, my friend, that it is not possible by traveling to know or see or reach a far end of the cosmos where one does not take birth, age, die, pass away, and reappear. And after saying that, is giving the other answer, the confusing answer, which is says, but at the same time, I tell you that there is no making and end of suffering and stress without reaching the end of the cosmos. So this was the dilemma that we were discussing, that we were trying to reconcile. Why he once says that you can't, by traveling, come to the end of suffering. And at the same time, he says, without traveling the cosmos as well, you will not be able to come to the end of suffering. And then he defines what cosmos is. He says this fathom long body is a cosmos, right? So we have to travel in this cosmos. From day one, we have used a technique. That technique is to bring our attention to the body, because our attention is basically not in this cosmos, which we have inside, but our attention is the cosmos which is outside. So therefore, when we live, what you call paralyzed. We live half. We live inefficiently because only the physical process is here. Mental process is all over the universe. He says, bring it back to your fathom long body, then you will see the universe. And from the reports, we can see some of you are getting there. And slowly. It's for some people, it may be a long process. For some people, it may not be that long. And all what matters is in achieving that, in getting there, to what extent you have the clarity of mindfulness. When the clarity of mindfulness improves, you will be able to get to what the Blessed One is talking. And it is not only the cosmos, you can go beyond cosmos. And in other words, you can be part of the cosmos. So therefore, you will not have suffering. We have suffering so long as we fight with our cosmos. So what we discussed in the last 2 days was, on the first day, we discussed what is mindfulness. We discussed the advantages of mindfulness. And yesterday, we discussed how we can sharpen it. And to sharpen mindfulness, there is another word that is introduced by the Blessed One, which we call sampajanya, or clear comprehension, or the full awareness. To have this clear comprehension or full awareness, there is one key term that the Buddha is using. The key term he is using is not just mindfulness. He says, keep the mindfulness to the fore. Why you keep the mindfulness to the fore is because even before Buddha, mindfulness was there, but they never came to the end of samsara. They never came to the end of suffering. They attained all these absorptions, which we call jhana, but they never ended suffering. They thought they had ended. There was a case where Lord Buddha met 3 brothers. They call Kashyapa brothers. Gaya Kashyapa, Urula Kashyapa, Nadi Kashyapa, I don't remember the sequence. And they had 1,000 disciples. The eldest one was having 500, the next one was having 300, and last one was having 200. When they met Buddha, they were thinking that they were arahants. Buddha had to show some psychic powers over 3 days to understand that they are not arahants, that Buddha is arahant. Then they just fell down at the feet of the Buddha and says, please tell us how you become an arahant. And then all the disciples and the teachers became followers of the Buddha. Right? So therefore, by just having mindfulness, but just having concentration, they thought when they go to absorption, you definitely feel that you have achieved, because you don't get defilements. Instead, what happens is defilements are getting suppressed. Right? So when the defilements are suppressed, that potential of that turning into a defilement, turning into a physical defilement, turning into a verbal defilement is unavoidable. So once Buddha said, and wheel-turning monarch. Wheel-turning monarch is a monarch who is, you may feel that these are, very, fairy tales. But these are things in the canon. So these are things that the Buddha has told. So I'm just telling them. So don't ask me whether I have verified them. I don't have such a power. But I believe Buddha. Therefore, I'm telling them. Buddha said this, he has seen when he was going on alms round, he has seen a line of black ants, big ones, which we call khadiya. You may have seen in Sri Lanka, and there, you have here as well. And Buddha has had a smile. And then Venerable Ananda was surprised to see that Buddha is smiling, because he usually doesn't smile. And he has asked, Bhante, can I ask a question? Why did you smile? Then he has shown the line of ants and said, there isn't a single ant here who has not become a wheel-turning monarch. When I heard that for the first time, my body hair raised. Someone who has been a wheel-turning monarch is becoming an ant in another life. Just see the danger. We think when we are having a human life, and when we are young, when we are able, when we have money, we think we rule the world. But see what happens. So that was one of the days I decided there must have another alternative to this way of living. So what I want to tell is that this is so unimaginable, the suffering that we are going through. So therefore, to come out of it, he says, take your attention to the body. So when you take the attention to the body to come out of this suffering and the stress that we are going through, just the mindfulness is not sufficient. When you keep it to the fore, it has got to continue. And how it continues, we discussed yesterday, it can continue on the same object that we are selecting. When we select the walking or when we select the breath, the walking or the breath keeps changing. It will not stay at the same level that you observe in the first instance, in the first few seconds, first few minutes, after half an hour, after 45 minutes, after 30 minutes, after 1 month, after 2 years, after 3 years, you start observing different, deeper details of the same thing. So it keeps changing. So you let that happen. You don't try to hold on to one particular thing. So that is not just mindfulness. You allow the mindfulness to, the object to change and keep observing. And we discussed yesterday how long becomes short and how gross becomes subtle, and then how your attention goes to the body, and then how it turns into feelings, and then how you go through the feelings, both pleasurable and unpleasurable, and neither pleasant nor unpleasant, and then how the mind is getting agitated or mind is getting done upon, right? So in this manner, we let things happen, we just keep observing. So by that, what we do is we go beyond the form, we go beyond the physical process, and we go beyond the feelings process, we go beyond the mental process. So when we go beyond these processes, for us to go beyond the processes, we should change within. What is the change that takes place within is we gradually give up things. We don't know. We let things happen, we let things change, means we don't hold on to things. When you don't hold on to things, naturally there is a change inside. That inside change is the renunciation. You let the gross become subtle. You let the long become short and even disappear and change into feelings, pleasurable, unpleasurable, whatever. So this giving up process, what does it do is purifies you. Your craving drops, your hatred drops, and when these are depreciating, what happens is you are purifying, whether you know it or not. For you to understand that you have changed, it may take some time. You may see after few months or few years, your friends and your loved ones, near and dear ones, are saying you are not like earlier. You are different. You don't come to parties. You don't play games with us. And you don't sing with us. You don't dance with us. What the heck happened to you? They may be asking. I remember when I went to Canada with my family a few years ago, when I was a layperson, and there is about 35 of my batchmates there. And then after a long time, we are meeting after 35 years. So it was a huge gathering for them. And I was bit of, how do I call it? Sort of a bazaar guy when I was in the university. I was in all those gangs. And everyone was very happy to meet me. And then when we met, one table for cans, one table for bottles, one table for meat, fish, and all sorts of things. And the big party arranged for the person whom they knew. And then when I went there, when I was asked to open the table, I said, I'm very sorry. I don't drink now and I don't eat meat. So what they immediately said was, when did you become a piece of hay? When did you become a piece of throwaway newspaper? So that is the compliment that you can get. Other people see that you have changed. And when I was working, someone had noticed the way I am going to office for a few months. And one day he approached me and asked me, "Can I talk to you?" I said, "Yes." Then he said, "There is something different in you." What is it? I don't know whether I'm different or not. I don't feel that there is any difference. But when you practice these things, other people sense it. So therefore, you may not be able to see. You may be, because of your mindfulness, you see all inside, it's the same garbage happening. But for outsiders, it is visible because you are not letting it out. You are not physically presenting it. You are not verbally presenting it. And that becomes a purification. So in the process of purification, there are basically 3 layers. The 3 layers of purifications are moral purification, and then mental purification, mind purification, and then the purification of the corruptions, mind corruptions. So we call it transgressional defilements, which is the moral purification. In the moral purification, we clear our transgressional defilements. And in the mind purification, mental purification, we call it Chitta Visuddhi. We purify the obsessional defilements. And then in the last one, we call it Anusaya Keles. We call it underlying tendencies or mental corruptions. So these 3 layers, we should get ourselves purified. And then only you will be able to achieve the state that the Blessed One is talking. Then only you use this cosmos to end suffering, to end the stress. So if we will take the first one, for example, the first one we have discussed in the last 2 days. When you are mindful, now usually in the transgressional defilements, to purify transgressional defilements, what we do is we try to control our, or rather refrain from doing things from physically or from physical and verbal restrainment is called the purification of the transgressional defilements, which you know. Those 5 precepts are for it. How we take precepts? The monks will come and ask you to say Namo Tassa. You say Namo Tassa, and then monk is saying Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadan Samadhiyami. You say, and monk says Adinna Dana Veramani Sikkhapadan Samadhiyami. You say, that's the way you observe precepts. Or you observe precepts because you are afraid of going to hell. And do you know the way Gamarala has observed precept? You know Gamarala? Gamarala is, it's village term, traditional term that we use in Sri Lanka. The head of the house is a farmer, and head of the house is called Gamarala, and Gamahamine is the wife. Right? So the Gamahamine is observing precepts on the Poya days in the temple. Gamarala doesn't go. It's a usual thing. And one day Gamarala wanted to go and observe precepts. And then asked wife, what should I do? You have got nothing to do. What you will have to do is simply repeat what the monk is saying. Right? So he wore his white clothes and put that white thing around your shoulders, and then went to the temple. And the monk was very happy to see Gamarala. He asked, Gamarala pansal lavada? And he said, Gamarala pansal lavada. And then he is asking, Mokade me ude pand. Then he says, Mokade me ude pand. So he kept repeating whatever the monk was saying. So that is how we observe precepts. And it's unlike that observation of precepts. The observation of precepts for the purification purpose, it should accompany your mind. You should, your mind should get connected with the physical and verbal purification. How does the mind get connected? Is only when you are mindful. And we took the example of Angulimala yesterday. And I gave the example of that person who was addicted to alcohol day before yesterday and yesterday. So these are very practical examples how immoral people, unethical people, by applying mindfulness, by doing the wrong thing mindfully, we think the mindfulness is a skillful quality of our mind. So therefore, this skillful quality of the mind should not be used for unskillful quality. And there are big arguments when we say these things. Utter nonsense. Buddha himself says, Achang achayo passata. Achang achato passata means, if you do anything wrong, you should first know that it is wrong. It is not me who is telling it. Buddha himself has said. So when you become mindful, you can be aware. We all are having one or the other wrong things, unacceptable things. So when these things are happening either verbally or physically, you can immediately, you can't stop, because this is transgressional and this is you have no control over it, and it happens. So only thing you can do is you can do it mindfully. I'll give you another example from what I just said in Canada. So after they told me, when did you become a piece of hay? And then I said, no, I'm practicing mindfulness. And then talked a little bit. I just presented 2-3 sentences about it. Then few members, especially the ladies, were a bit interested. And they said, Ane ayyo apitat kiyandako, ane ayya apitat kiyandako. So it started. Then I said, I don't know where to start. You guys ask any questions you want, then we can get into a discussion. And they kept asking questions, and I kept giving answers. And some people in the meantime started to open the bottles, and they stopped opening bottles. Some people in the meantime started pouring, and they stopped pouring. And some people filled the glass and took the glass and were holding the glass, and they never drank. And the discussion went for about 1.5 hours. End of the discussion, everyone went and threw it into the sink. Nobody drank. This is not practicing mindfulness. This is just talking about mindfulness, and it has so much of power. It has so much of power. It opens up you. It becomes a mirror to you just because you talk about it. And then from that meeting, someone took up the challenge to bring me down there annually, and then have programs on an annual basis, which is happening even today. I could not go there only during COVID. And as a layperson, I have been going there, and people are practicing now with me. And they're very happy that I came after 35 years, and they got this gift from me. So like that, we have that purification power. So what I want to tell you is, it is not that you have got to be a very clean person to come to Dhamma. You can be anybody, but you should be a human being. Doesn't matter whether you are a male or a female, young or old, or whether you are a Buddhist or non-Buddhist, does not apply. If you are a human being, and if you get this message, and if you start practicing it, Buddha has ensured that he will purify us. And it not just purifies us, He has given a guarantee as well. In Mahasatipatthana Sutta, he says, if you do this, I will guarantee that you will attain certain stage of enlightenment in 7 days. That is, if you are clever, if you are intelligent, and if you do it wholeheartedly, full time. But a dumb person like me, he has said, it can be done even in 7 years. So no need to be in a hurry to do 7 days. If you gradually practice, the result has been guaranteed by Lord Buddha already. Right? So therefore, this is not something that is available in the sky. It is not something that is available after you die. It is something that you can achieve in this very life itself. But how many people are doing? Very few people. Why very few people? All other people are intoxicated. Intoxicated with the sensual pleasure. Intoxicated with, it's not alcohol. Alcohol is just one small thing with which you will get intoxicated. You are intoxicated with your strength. You are intoxicated with your youth, intoxicated with your wealth, intoxicated with your position. So when you are intoxicated with one of those things, you will not get opened up into this. So you are so lucky. You are not that intoxicated. And you are so lucky you are hearing this at this very young age, as Loku Hamduro mentioned. And so coming back to the point of transgressional defilements, so when the mind is connected, when you are mindful, even if you do a bad thing, you will gradually become a good person. Right? So when that becoming a good person is the observation of the precept. Even if you don't repeat every day, killing, that you are not stealing, that you are not engaging in sexual misconduct, that you are not lying, that you are not taking intoxicating substances, although you are not repeating, but if you are mindful, any bad things when you are about to do, your mindfulness will come and tell you, you are going to do a wrong thing, do it mindfully. So as soon as it comes, it may be sometimes halfway through, it may be towards the end, or it may be at the beginning, it may be even before the start. It depends on to what extent your mindfulness has improved. So then gradually you purify your transgressional defilements. Transgressional defilements means when you make a mistake, or when you commit one of those defilements, when you break one of those precepts, you know, and even the outsiders know. When you kill an animal, you definitely know that you have done it. And even the other people who sees it will know. Similarly, all the other things. So that is transgressional defilements. It transgressed. It crossed the borderline. There is an accepted level in the society that these things should not be done. And you pass that. And transgressional defilements, I'm not talking about law in the country. So that's a different scenario. Here, transgressional defilements are those defilements, those things, physical and verbal things, that you don't like someone else doing it to you. Those are the transgressional defilements. You don't like someone coming and punching you, or hurting you, or killing you. So you don't do the same thing to the other person. You don't like stealing things from you. So you don't do the same thing for the other person. Similarly, the other three precepts or any other precept. So that is the meaning of transgressional defilement. So by observing precepts, by avoiding transgressional defilements, what do you get? By managing, by controlling, by having sort of surveillance over your physical and mental behavior, what do you get? You get what you give. That's a normal principle. You get what you give. What you give, by observing precepts? You give no fear. You take away the fear other people will have. If you don't kill, all the animals that would have otherwise come to your plate are still living. You have to, since you don't kill, they don't have any fear because of you. Similarly, stealing, similarly, the other three. Right? So when you give no fear, what do you get? You also get no fear. Your mind will not be fearful that something will happen to you, because it is a natural cause and effect relationship. And there is a nice story. There has been a disciple, monk. He, a young monk, a novice, and his teacher, very developed practitioner, and he knew this monk is going to die in the next couple of days. And then the teacher asked him to, you go to your village and pay respect to your mom and dad, because you didn't go for a long time. That's because he has done a bad thing in the previous life. So he was going. And after a week, he came back. This monk was shocked what happened. On the way, he has seen this red ants, huge amount of red ants fallen into a pit where there is water, a well. So what he has done is he has stopped going home. He has gone down to the well, and one by one, each ant has been removed from the well. That has compensated his bad karma. And therefore, with that, he has gained a long life. And after that, he has lived, the book says, 80 years. So like that, when you give no fear, you get no fear. Right? So therefore, if you are committing any transgressional defilements, there are basically 4 types of fears that you will have. You call it Attanuvada Baya, Paranuvada Baya, Danda Baya, Duggati Baya. Attanuvada Baya means when you commit or break a precept like that, you yourself will be afraid. There is no need for somebody else and come and afraid you. You know that you have done a wrong thing. So therefore, those who are killing, those who are lying, they always will have to take a shot in the evening, otherwise they can't sleep, because their mind is blaming them all the time. It's not outside punishment. Punishment is within you. You call it Attanuvada Baya, the self-fear. And Paranuvada Baya means they will call you with all the names. They will say he's a killer, he's a murderer, all sorts of terms that you know. Person who is lying, there is a term. Person who is stealing, there is a term. Person who is doing sexual misconduct, there is a term. And if someone is addicted to alcohol, there is a term. So you call them by that name. And outsiders also, others also will not talk good about you. So that is also a fear. Dandabhaya means if the police catch you, the government catch you, they will lock you up. And if they prove that you are wrong, they will put you into jail. And that fear is also there. Duggati Bhaya means after death, you have green card to the hell. That is called Duggati Bhaya. So therefore, if you break precepts, these 4 fears are there. But when you observe precepts with either just by repeating and by force, you somehow or other try to avoid such things, or you observe precepts with mindfulness, then you will not have these fears, right? So that way you will be able to purify yourself. And there is a nice story during Buddha's time. A follower of Nigantanatha is one of another teacher during Buddha's time, contemporary teacher teaching some other doctrine. There was a disciple called Asibandhuputta. He has met Buddha, and the Buddha has asked a simple question from him. The question he has asked is, does your teacher teach you any morality? This person has said yes. And how does he teach? Buddha has asked. And he has said, if someone doing more killing, if someone is doing more is stealing, if someone does more sexual misconduct and lying and taking intoxications, and if those things are more in his livelihood, in the way he lives, then he will definitely go to hell. That is the teaching of my teacher. And therefore, it depends how much you do it. So when you take that, if, say, a butcher, his job is to keep killing. And if you take a journalist, his job is to keep lying. If you take a lawyer, any lawyers here trying to be lawyers, his job is to keep lying. Right? So like that, there are certain professions, you will, as a profession, you will have to do it. Right? And it happens, at least in a subtle way. Then Venerable Lord Buddha has told Venerable Ananda, so if going to hell depends on how long and what you do more, no one will go to hell, Lord Buddha has said. Then Venerable Ananda has asked, what are you saying? How is that possible? Then he has said, just take a person who is killing, and if he is killing for a job, say it's 8 hours, he will be killing for 8 hours. There are 16 hours he is not killing. So he's not doing more killing. He's doing less killing compared to time. And similarly, other things. You can't do anything 24 hours. So therefore, the time he spends more, he's not doing bad things. So on that doctrine, on that teaching, no one will be going to hell. Then that fellow was shocked. And then Buddha says, even if you do a wrong thing, if you repent about it, if you worry about it, you will definitely go to hell. If you do a wrong thing, and if you are mindful of it, you have an opportunity to come out of it. So therefore, the Buddha has not come here to throw stones to the sinner. Buddha has come to the world to give a helping hand to the sinner. Humanity is full of troubles like that. So he has appeared in this world to radiate that light, to radiate that energy to us. After 2,600 years, we are still lucky to have that message, and still lucky to have that teaching, still lucky to have that, have the teachers like Lok Swami Nahanse teaching it to us. And not just teaching, they are living on those principles and teaching us. So therefore, if we apply these things at least little to our everyday life, it is going to do wonders. And especially in your age, no need to be in a hurry. Take 5 minutes on a daily basis, mindful walking, mindful sitting. And in few years, you will see a tremendous change. I remember in my mid-30s or late 30s, only I started. And when I started, I did not have a teacher. I just picked from somewhere, from what I heard and from whatever the books I read. I just started with 5 minutes. Sincere determination to walk on the path was there. I was not trying to achieve efficiency in the office. I was not trying to achieve anything physical or mental as a remedy for physical mental disability. I was not trying to improve my leadership qualities. I was not trying to improve my earning capacity. It's mere an alternative way of living for this suffering. The tremendous amount of friction that we undergo on a daily basis. I just want some cushion. I wanted some recharging method to this dying battery. Started with 5 minutes, and it was that those 5 minutes were longer than 5 years initially. You may have definitely experienced in this retreat. You have never done 30 minutes, 45 minutes. But you managed. Maybe a few times you may have changed your postures. Doesn't matter. You manage 45 minutes, 2-3 days is not it's a huge investment in your life, right? So this 5 minutes, one day went in a flash. That day I decided this is something possible. I increased that to 15 minutes, and every two months, 3 months, I kept increasing 5 minutes, and then now very easily we can sit for 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Although I don't sit that long, it is possible. What I want to tell you is, as the bottom line, so when you introduce your mindfulness, any thing that you do, any bad thing that you do, any breaking of precepts, you can be mindful and you will be purified. So that is just the first purification. Now just rush through the second purification, which is the obsessional defilements. Obsessional defilements are not visible to you. Are not visible to outside world. You know that there is a defilement, and that defilement is only in your mind. But so far as outsiders are concerned, or you are such a virtuous person, but inside you know things are boiling within you. There is so much of craving, so much of lust, and so much of anger, so much of hatred, so much of jealousy, so much of animosity. You know you have. But while walking, while talking, you are such a beautiful flower. And they think you are a saint. But inside it's a different story. Those are called obsessional defilements. The defilements not physically and verbally exhibited or presented, but mentally they are existing. Right? So we call it sensual desire is one of those things. When you restrain your physical and verbal activities, your desire in the mind, you start seeing. So when you see the desire in mind, what does it confirm? That you have restrained your physical and verbal deeds. When you restrain your physical and verbal deeds, only you can see your mind. So seeing the garbage in the mind is a certificate that you have passed the first exam. We never think that way. Even there was some question today. You may feel that you are going backward, because earlier when you are not having any restraint, you didn't have any problem because you didn't see your mind. But now when you have this restraint, you start seeing physical and verbal side is good. You start seeing the mind. So seeing the mind is therefore a confirmation that you have become a virtuous person. Right? So when those thoughts are coming, so you have got something to be happy now. There is every time something to be happy, but we take the other side, take the negative side. Right? So there are 5 types of those mental defilements. We call them hindrances, and they are sensual pleasure and the hatred or the aversion, we call it, sloth and torpor, worry, and agitation, and the skeptical doubts. So these are 5 things when you are practicing. How many times you may have thought, what the heck are we doing? Is this a real thing? Is Lord Buddha enlightened? Are these monks teaching something rubbish? You may have so many doubts. Having doubts is natural. Having doubts is telling that you are on the path. Our mind is trying to push you away from that. So whenever something comes to your mind, you will have to spit it out in your report. I'm getting these type of thoughts. So then you don't know that this is a way forward. But the teacher knows that your practice is going well. Mind is a bit scared because this guy is leaning more towards Dhamma. So somehow or other it won't pull back. So it will create doubts about the teacher. It will create doubts about the teaching. It will create doubts about Lord Buddha. It will create doubts about yourself. That I am not good enough to do this, I can't do this and all that. So even for those things, the remedy is mindfulness. Keep the mindfulness to the fore. When those things are coming, you just become mindful and label them as thoughts occurring. All these are thoughts. Label them as thoughts occurring. Then you can go through that as well. And she took the case of sleepiness. Sloth and torpor happens because you don't crave. When the craving in the mind drops, when the aversion in the mind drops, you feel sleepy. So therefore, it is again a way forward. It is a certificate for no aversion, no craving. We don't look at it that way. But of course, after lunch, it's a different story. and the body is busy with the digestion. Anyway, so every dark cloud has in the Dhamma a silver line. We don't see the silver line. We see only the dark cloud. So that is a very short explanation of obsessional defilements. Underlying deficiencies or the mental corruptions is the last one. That even you don't know. They are very, what do you call it? I don't get the word straight away. They are very, we call it Vanchanika Dhamma. There is a good English term which doesn't come to my mind straight away. They are very shrewd. It appears like a good thing. But underneath the current is a defilement. Say, for example, once you learn this, you feel going and giving it to your friends. You become very busy teaching your friend. What happens is it feels like, you are doing a good thing to the society. But what happens is you have your desire to teach others and stop your practice. So you don't see that defilement unless you tell that you are going to do this. And I had a friend of mine, his practice was going so well. And then he said, this is such a marvelous thing. We should get some network going. So therefore, I'm going to go to Sri Lanka. And in Sri Lanka, I'm going to have some connections with the schools. And I will build few things, toilets and buildings in Sri Lanka. And we'll get connections and we will teach Dhamma to them after that. So what's happening? The mind is trying to take you away from the practice and drive you to some other area. So that's a sort of a craving or mental corruption that are there. Or you may start expressing loving kindness to someone just because you can't hate him or her. Especially when they're in a superior situation, you can't have a fight with them. But you have so much of aversion towards them. You say, Silu Satyo Niduk Veva, Nirogi Veva, Sopat Veva. Or that person also Niduk Veva, Nirogi Veva, Sopat Veva. But inside you are boiling against him or her. So that even doing such a good thing, underlying tendency will be different. Right? So it is coming in a very cunning way. So those things only the teacher will see what's going on. Once Venerable Anuruddha has said, I have the ability to see others' mind. Told to Venerable Sariputta. Venerable Sariputta has said, you may have the ability to see others' mind. But what you are saying is you are just exhibiting your conceit. You are trying to show off. So just forget about it and keep practicing. So therefore, when these things are coming up, again, all what you can do is, all these are thoughts, right? All these are conceptualizations that are happening. You simply become aware of it. So this is why keep the mindfulness to the fore. When you keep the mindfulness to the fore, you may go into deeper layers, even in the mental process, and the purification happens. So when the purification happens, then in the last purification happens, then what Buddha said was, you will be able to end the suffering. In that process, this seed of mindfulness will be mindfulness to the fore. Mindfulness to the fore, when you keep it, it will go to the four foundations of mindfulness. When you go to the four foundations of mindfulness, it will become a mindful faculty. And the mindful faculty will become a power of mindfulness, and it will become an enlightenment factor. And then you will have right mindfulness. And from the right mindfulness, you go to the enlightenment. So this is the path in a nutshell. And hopefully, I have started writing a small book for the beginners of mindfulness. Hopefully, it will get published. If it gets published, you will receive it. Not that you will receive it, you will have to buy it. Right. It's free of charge is enough now. All right. So this is how you can go through your cosmos and then purify yourself. So again, I presume that I have tried my level best to pass the significance and the wonders of mindfulness to you. And you may have tried your level best to apply it and practice and understand it. So may you all thrive with this wonderful skill of mindfulness. Everyone, blessings of the Triple Gem. All right, so that is the end of the talk and the series as well. Tomorrow we don't have a talk, I think. We will have just a discussion session, hopefully, before we close. And so over to you. Sukhi Vantu. Sadhu sadhu anumodami. Sadhu anumoditambam. Sukhi Vantu. Kamami kamitabam. Sukhi Vantu. Sukhi Vantu. Sukhi Vantu. Abhivadana silis nichang vadapichayino chattaro dhamma vaddanti ayu vanno sukham palam ayurarogya sampatti sarva sampatti nevacha ato nibbana sampatti minate samicchatu. Sukhi Hantu, Sukhi Hantu, Sukhi Hantu. Everyone's on my Zoom. We are going to disconnect here.